What's up guys, Magey Cake here, and today we're in Northrend at the Argent Tournament Grounds, and we're going to take a look at my tips and strategy for dealing with Grandmaster Pet Tamer, Major Payne. Major Payne is located in the northeast section of the tournament grounds, and the Alliance and Horde Stable Masters are also conveniently located just outside of each faction's pavilion. Now before I get into my strategy for dealing with Major Payne and his team, I just wanted to remind everybody that the Argent Crusaders Tabard makes for some quick work of getting here. Also, if you're not pressed for time, I like to take the portal to Dalaran and flyer myself. There is a ton of mining and herbing nodes between Dalaran and the tournament grounds, and these low-level mats always do well on the auction house. By the end of the week, I usually have at least a couple of stacks of herbs, and I always make money on them. Another advantage to flying to the tournament grounds is that the most direct route from Dalaran is going to take you straight over Cinderghost's Falls. This is the location of my personal impossible pet to collect, the Scourge Whelpling. Finally, while you're here, taking a few minutes to do the tournament dailies will quickly build up your champion seals, and upgrading the vendor pets with battle stones is another great way to make gold on the auction house. Major Payne's team consists of a beast named Grizzle, a mechanical named Beakmaster X225, and an elemental named Bloom. As a beast, Grizzle has the passive ability to deal an extra 25% damage when he's below half health. Grizzle is usually the first pet you'll confront, and I say usually because I have seen Beakmaster first a few times. And Grizzle will usually start the battle with his Bash ability, which will stun you for 1 round. Your best strategy here is to just go ahead and pass the round. It's not worth swapping out to the other pets and increasing the amount of damage that they're going to take during the battle. Grizzle then casts Rampage, which is a 3-round ability, and it will hurt, but not enough to kill a level 25 mechanical pet. The main ability you're going to want to watch out for here is Hibernate. Grizzle's going to fall asleep for 3 rounds and will progressively heal himself each round. If he's allowed to heal for all 3 rounds, he will essentially heal himself back to full health. Beakmaster has the mechanical passive to return to life once per battle, so don't forget to take the additional health and necessary damage into account when coming up with your strategy. His batter ability hits 1 to 2 times, but can hit for a 3rd time if his speed is higher than your pet. Wind Up will give him a buff that will increase his damage by 10% and will last until he casts the ability for a 2nd time, releasing a ton of damage. Using an elemental pet will greatly reduce the damage taken when he unleashes his attack. And his Shock and Awe ability has the chance to stun you for 1 round. So you may need to use strategy here on whether or not you're going to pass the round or swap out to another pet. It's going to depend on the group that you have. But whatever you do, do not swap out to a beast pet against Beakmaster. He's going to go down instantly. His final pet here, Bloom, has the passive ability to ignore all weather effects. He usually opens with the ability Entangling Roots, which is going to do no damage the first round, but will do substantial damage the next round and root your pet for 2 rounds. If you swap out after Entangling Roots has been cast, make sure that the pet that you swap into has enough health to last for 2 rounds against Bloom. His ability Lash is another 1 to 2 strike ability that will hit for a 3rd time if his speed is faster than your pet. And his final ability is Soothing Mists, which is a heal that will persist through pet swaps, but it's going to end up being moot here since he's going to be the last pet to go. Let's take a look at the team that I've put together to go up against Major Payne. We have a mechanical Clockwork Gnome, an elemental Terrible Turnip, and an aquatic Eternal Strider. I like to use the mechanical to go up against the beast Grizzle. And as a mechanical, his passive ability is to come back to life once per battle. It's the same passive ability that Beakmaster uses, except I'm actually going to use this ability as a part of my overall strategy for this battle. I've also swapped out the 3rd ability, Build Turret, which does a pretty good amount of damage for the 4 rounds, to the Launch Rocket ability. Combined with the damage increase against a beast, this ability does over 900 mechanical damage in a single round and will put an instantaneous end to the hibernate that Grizzle's going to use. The elemental Terrible Turnip has the passive ability to ignore weather effects. It's the same passive ability that Bloom has, and it's actually going to be irrelevant in this fight since none of our opponents are going to cast a weather ability against us. It's important to note that elementals take 33% less damage from mechanical abilities, and this is important going up against Beakmaster. I've seen his wind-up ability, when it's unleashed, actually one-shot pets if they're not elemental. I've swapped out the second ability from Leech Seed, which has a combination dot hot effect, to the Inspiring Song ability. I love this overall team heal, and I find that the benefit from a team heal outweighs the damage that's going to be done from the Leech Seed. I've also changed the third ability from Sunlight to Sons of the Root. The overall damage, weather effect, healing increase of Sunlight just isn't comparable to the damage that you're going to get from Sons of Roots. This is fantastic too because your pet's going to submerge and become unattackable for 2 rounds, which is fantastic because you're going to stay alive longer. And finally, our aquatic pet is the Eternal Strider, and he has a passive ability that's going to reduce the effect of dots by 25%. Again, it ends up being irrelevant in this battle since none of our opponents are going to cast any dots on us. It's also important to note here that aquatic pets are going to deal 50% more damage against elementals, and this is going to help us to burn Bloom at the end. I've made some changes to his abilities as well. I've swapped the second ability from Healing Wave, which is a pretty big self-heal, to the weather effect Cleansing Rain. In addition to being another team heal, this is also going to buff all of the damage done by the aquatic pet by an additional 25%. I've swapped this third ability as well from Soothe to Pump. Soothe works very well when combined with the Healing Wave to put a pet to sleep, but during a pet tamer battle, it doesn't have as much impact, I find, as the Pump ability. What Pump's going to do is it's actually going to increase your damage by an additional 10%. And that's a buff that you're going to have until you cast Pump a second time. At that point, it's going to release a huge blast of damage, and combined with the buff that you're going to get from Cleansing Rain and the buff that you get against an elemental, I've seen this one shot for over 1200 damage. So there's the team I've put together. Let's take a look at some battle footage and see how it goes. So let's see how my team does up against Major Payne's team. So as predicted, Grizzle's the first pet out, and I'm going to go ahead and open with my Metal Fists. And I actually get lucky here because he didn't cast Bash and didn't stun me, so he's gone ahead and started with Rampage, which we're just going to go ahead and exchange a couple of hits against each other. So now I'm pretty sure that he's going to go into Hibernate, so I'm going to go ahead and cast my Launch Rocket ability. It's going to go ahead and set it up for me. And there he goes, he's starting to hibernate, and you can see him healing. So we're just going to go ahead and put an end to that and fire off this rocket. I just absolutely love this ability. I just love the animation and how it kills him in one shot. Okay, so Beakmaster's up next, and as I mentioned, I'm going to use the mechanical passive to come back to life, and just use this as an opportunity to get a few extra whacks in against Beakmaster. You can see here is unleashing his wind-up ability does a ton of damage. So go ahead and give him some whacks. And now I'm going to swap out to the Terrible Turnip. Okay, and here we go. We're going to cast a heal, just make sure that everybody's topped off. And the next round we're going to use our Sons of Roots. And this is great because I'm taking no damage right now while he's doing what he needs to do. And the nice thing about this is the the healing actually, with its 3-round cooldown, times out nicely if you cast it right before the Sons of Roots, because it's off cooldown as soon as it's done. And I'm going to go ahead and try to sneak in an extra weakening blow here. And I got lucky because he could have killed me with that one shot. So I'm going to swap out to the Eternal Strider. And I'm going to go through my full rotation with this pet. So the first thing I'm going to do is cast my weather ability, Cleansing Rain, which is going to go ahead and do a group heal, buff my damage. And now I'm going to pump, which is going to increase my damage as well, and I do a water jet against him. And of course, as expected, he comes back to life. So one more water jet is going to be all it takes to finish him off. Now out comes Bloom, and I've already got all my buffs on me. I've got my weather ability, and my pump is ready to go. So I'm just going to top everybody off with a little extra heal here. And you can see he cast his root ability. Didn't do any damage to me that first round, but I'm going to take some damage here. And now I am rooted for 2 rounds. So my healing is not off cooldown yet. So I'm just going to try and burn him down here. I get lucky here as well. He goes ahead and heals himself instead of hitting me. So that gives me the opportunity then to unleash my pump and put an end to him. And there you go, perfect battle footage. And I hope you enjoyed my video. If you like, please comment, like, and subscribe.